Well, hello everyone. How are you, my friends, my essential stencil friends? It's been a while. We've all been on, I was away last week, and so I hope you had a wonderful, happy New Year and a great Christmas, spent time with friends and family and all that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna scroll through here, look for our live on our Essential Stencil page. Sometimes I just have to refresh the page so I can see your comments, guys. But welcome as you're joining in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love to see where you're coming in from. Oh, here we go. I can see some comments. There's Dawn. How are you, Dawn? Let me see if it shows more on this page. I've got my video set up by my husband today, so Marty's always great for all of that kind of thing. And let me see if I can see. Yeah, see, I'm seeing more on an actual feed. So hi, Kimberly, Brenda, Robin. How are you all today? So if you happen to watch the replay, just comment the word replay in there. After the live is over, Essential Stencil will give away another prize within the next 24 hours after the live. So I always like to mention that at the beginning of our live, just in case for those people who are jumping onto the replay later on. Okay, if you're joining us now, there's a chance for 3 prize winners at the end of our live, so don't go anywhere. Essential Stencil loves to be generous and give away prizes for their fun stenciling projects here. As ambassadors, we love to bring you projects each week. So I'm usually here every Wednesday night for you guys in the USA. As you can tell by my accent, I'm from Australia, and we're in the middle of summer right here. So I've got the aircon on today because there's storms brewing in the area this week. We've had a cyclone off the coast, which I think you call them hurricanes over in the US, cyclone. And that's dissipated, but the effects and the rain and the weather is kind of, you know, causing king tides on the coast and all sorts of fun things. So hi guys, how are you all today? Thank you so much for watching. Now we are going to be doing some fun Valentine's signs today. What I did was, you know, sometimes I have signs that I put in my shop and they don't sell, or they haven't been my best work. So I simply paint over the top of them. And that's the case with this one. I just painted over the top of something that I had painted a long time ago. So I'm hoping that you can't see the original stencil in there. But let's see. I do need to watch this live. Sorry, I'm going to press the play button here so I can actually see what we're doing. But yeah, so that's just been painted with an off-white color. And I have the hook on there already on the back. So that's a board that's roughly, someone's going to ask me, it's like about an A4 size, I think. 23 by, oh sorry, I'm talking centimeters. Let me go to inches for y'all. 12 inches by 9. It's around about that size, but it doesn't really matter on the size. I always just find a board, find something, and then just work with what stencils you have to join that in. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by comments. Thank you guys. Yeah, Kathy says she could use a little summer weather. Excited to see what we'll create tonight. Yes, let me show you some of the stencils we're going to be working with. In fact, I do always put them in the description of the live, but the pack that I'm working with is the I Love Us stencil pack. So can you see that one? Let me see if I can move over here. There we go, that's that pack there. It's a 6-pack and it's called I Love Us because one of the stencils says I Love Us. Let me just show you the 6 different stencils in that one in case you don't have that already. There's this cute little jar, I love it. I'll be using that one on my board today. Then we have a you and me. Then we have this cute love sign. And I Love Us. Did I do 6? Oh no, we've got another couple over here. A little kiss hug, an X and a heart, and a PS, I love you. So lots of cute little signs. Now these are the mini set and they are 6 inches by 6 inch stencils. Hi Peggy, watching from Texas. And Barb received some new stencils today. That's awesome. So good to hear. And I think some of you could still be receiving a Stencil of the Month Club sets. I'm not sure. I remember introducing the January Stencil of the Month Club. It was the last live that I did, the last week in December. Or no, it was the week before. However, you should be receiving those, hopefully, so that'll be fun. The other thing that I want to show you today, just a little bit of transferring right at the end of our live, so stay tuned for that, is the poinsettia and cardinal set. Now, there are still some of these beautiful wintry designs left, but guys, guess what? I spied some things that you could use for Valentine's Day on these, namely these cute little bows, the red bows. There's a white bow here, the ribbons, and there's a red ribbon here. You could also use some of these leaves and twigs. They could be, you know, incorporated in your Valentine's designs. So don't skip over those when you're looking and browsing in the Essential Stencil shop. Also, don't forget to use my code iRestoreStuff and you'll get 10% off anything in the store. And then, of course, there's the new, I forgot to look up all about the new stencil sets. They were ready for pre-order and you can use my code on those too. So that's exciting, coming very soon. And I'm sure Essential Stencil will put all the things about that coming up. So I've got a couple of boards. So there's that one I showed you that I painted over. And then I've just cut a really small bit of ply that is actually another one that I've painted over. Yes, everybody's got, wintry weather over there, and here I am sweltering in the sun. That's exactly how it works on the opposite side of the world. So these already had some I drilled these holes earlier, but I've just roughly cut out these cute little signs that can be used for a number of things, and I've actually got a few of those. So it's just a great plywood type board, very thin, as you can see there. And they can be used for door hangers, for wall hangings, for that kind of thing. So that will be used for our second sign that I have right there. So setting those aside, what we also will need is some Essential Stencil brushes. Now these are available also on Essential Stencils in their store online. And if you go to any of the links in our description or just go to essentialstencil.com, you can use my code on these as well. So anything you purchase in the shop, use code iRestoreStuff for your 10% off. So let's get started. We'll do our transfer last because it goes sort of over the top of our stencil. What I'm going to do is see if I can point the camera down a little so we can get in on the project. Let me know again. Thank you so much for sprinkling, Barb. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Share the live with your DIY friends. You can share it on your own newsfeed. I've got a little zooming trick here. There we go. That zooms it in a little bit closer for you, doesn't it? Let me see if I need to go down a bit. There we go. So we can see that a bit more clearly. And we've got our you and me and this cute jar sign. Just getting down a little bit further, and we can zoom it in a touch more so you can see. Oh, this way. There we go. I think we've got it in the shot. I've got to play camera person and host at the same time. And then I've got to scroll to see your comments. It's all a bit technical, isn't it? Hi, Tonya from Louisiana. Thank you so much, Sammy Sherwood, for sprinkling. That's amazing. I do have a few different, I just use a furniture paint to do my stencils with. You can use any acrylic craft paint. I find that the acrylic ones are usually a better quality. So the furniture paint that I use is an acrylic-based furniture mineral paint. So I've got an Australian brand here that I use called Artisan. This colour is called Black Pearl, which is actually a really charcoaly grey colour. Another colour that I might use for my hearts is Fort York Red by Fusion Mineral Paint. And I do have some of that on my Amazon shop link. Sorry if that's not in focus there. Which I can share with you if you would like. Jenny says that is one of the stencils that I'll be getting on Saturday. That's amazing. So you guys have been ready for your DIYing during any breaks? Over here we have our children have their 6 to 8 week. This is our summer vacation. So our kids have been on holidays for a while. Well, not mine, but in Australia, my youngest finished school last year, so I'm excited about that. But yes, most of our school children over here are still on vacation for another while. And I'm guessing that some of yours are all going back to school after Christmas. All right, so this is just cardboard that I've laid down on my dining table. I've dipped my brush in the paint see that there, just a little bit on the end. I'm going to work that into the bristles by just offloading some of that there. You can see the colour grey that I've got. Brenda, I'm so sorry that you've been sick this week. Yeah, it doesn't always, you don't feel like crafting when you're not feeling well, do you? Now I could use some painter's tape, so it might be a good idea to do that because I've got a few little manoeuvres that I've got to do today just with the cardboard that I'm going to block off the hearts as I do this. So I'm popping this one up here, you and me, and I'm putting the jar down underneath it. I feel like that's not centered. Sharon, get it straight. I'm just eyeballing it, but you can measure if you would like to measure. Okay, so we've got our jar down there, got the paint on the brush, and I'm wanting to use this cardstock just to make sure I only get the jar and not the hearts. Okay, so doing a smush and swirl in on the stencil itself. Okay. And just getting it right into the stencil grooves. This black pearl colour is almost, it's just a little bit transparent, so you could use 2 coats on this, depending on the colours you use. See how I'm just, instead of using a tape, oh, I nearly missed that little heart, missed seeing that little heart there. So you just got to be really careful. I'm just using the black cardstock as a instead of taping it off, just using it as a guide to go around and make sure I don't catch those hearts, because I wanted to do those a different colour. So I like this grey colour. It almost feels like, you know, a jar colour, like you would see a smoky glass jar, I suppose. But we're only going to see the outlines of the jar. Let's go over that again. Making sure we've got it nice and covered, well covered. Connie, you ordered the hearts for the minis too. Yeah, the minis are really cute stencils and you can use them for so many different things. Now imagine these are the size that you could use on a greeting card as well. So that would be a great idea for a project to use it as a greeting card. I'm just going to lift this one side up so I can put it straight back down afterwards, just to show you that here. So now we've got our cute glass jar. You see that? Tip it up a little bit for you. Nice and crisp edges, and we can get crisp edges because we've offloaded most of that paint off the brush and onto our cardboard here so that it doesn't get everywhere. I'll just lay that down on the paint. So I'm going to lay that back down to do our hearts next. And I'm going to also do the wording up here. Oh, I was just going to make sure, yeah, I did. I always want to make sure I've put that hook on the back the right side up. Made that mistake before. I've done a whole sign and then realised that the hook on the back was down here instead of up the top. So, but luckily you can actually unscrew the hook and, you know, screw it back on the other side. Has anyone else made that mistake? Oh. Yes, Pam, you're watching live. We are live right now. Okay, so I'm going to do some grey up here. I may do a shadow on this, just depending on how this grey turns out. We may put some red over the top of it, just for fun. Okay, so I've offloaded the brush onto my cardboard, so there's hardly any paint left on the brush. Moving that down here so you can see. And we're just doing a nice, soft, gentle swirling motion. The background, I've just painted it with similar acrylic-based furniture paint that I use here in Australia. You can use any acrylic craft paint. The nice, thicker, good quality paints are probably better for your stenciling. And then the less coats you have to go over the top of your work. Oop. I'd love to know in the comments if you've never stenciled before or if you're brand new to stenciling. Let us know in the comments. We always love to welcome our new viewers or our new stencilers. You will find lots of hints and tips here on the Essential Stencil Facebook page and also on their website. And if you join the Stencil of the Month Club, you'll also get some great inspiration over there too. So let's just take that off and have a look how those words turned out. You can see the, I'll see if I can do this trick. My husband's set up my phone to be a camera also, so I'll see if I can zoom that in really close and show you. Now the background is kind of a crosshatch look. Let me see if I can just switch the camera here. So can you see that? The background on here shows through on the grey. So there's a really nice close-up for you. That's handy, isn't it? So I've still got my stencil over here. Now I'm ready to do my hearts on the inside. Alrighty. And we'll use this red. Pop the lid on there. And moving that back slightly. Got to figure out where I am in relation to this. Did anyone say that they, oh yes, so Rick Debbie, is that you Debbie or Rick? Started watching, when was that, last month? I missed it. My comments are flying past so quickly. Just wanted to acknowledge you are learning so much, and yes, that's so good. Thank you so much for letting us know if you are new here today. Hubby is a keeper. That's awesome. Yeah, learning so many tips and hints. Now, using our cardboard again, and also if you have your brush, this is the one that was grey, you can either put it in a wet cloth or a plastic bag or something like that, so that it doesn't dry out in between coats. So if I'm going to use that grey again, I can take it out of the wet cloth and use it again. So I'm going to, let's see what I'll use. I'll use this smaller one. This is the 1/2 inch brush. These are Essential Stencil brushes, really great quality. And I'm going to dip it into the red there. Wipe it on the edge of my paint jar and find a clean piece of cardboard. And just working that into the bristles and drying off the brush. Oh, Kimberly says she has a stars jar and you did a project with the stars shooting out of the jar. That's a great idea, 4th of July idea. Yeah, perfect. So now instead of covering the hearts, I'm going to cover the jar and try and make sure that I don't get the jar edges. And I'm just going for the center. So what I'll do is I'll just move right up the center here where I can see that it's definitely not going to hit my brush won't hit the edge of the jar, and then I'll move my cardstock around because there's tiny hearts around the side. So now I'm moving around this side, and so that way the brush will get on the black card instead of on the grey part of the jar where I've tried to block it off. So see how that's a nice handy way. You could use your painter's tape and tape all around there, but instead we're just using the cardstock to catch the edges. I think I need a little bit more. Now moving around, we've got one very close to the edge here. Ooh. And coming up close to these ones here. There we go. So sometimes you have to pounce and then wiggle. That's my manoeuvre. But the more you practice, the better you get at stenciling and finding that technique that suits you and your style, or the way that you find easiest to do it, the way that you can get the most coverage. But we're here live every weekday just to show you our tips and tricks and things that we've found really helpful. So I know a lot of people appreciate that. Carol says she does make it look easy. Well, that's because I've had a lot of practice though, Carol. So the more you practice, the more you do it, the better you'll be at doing all of this. So here are our cute hearts in the jar, and aren't they just adorable? I love that. I do feel like I'd love to see some red up here on these words. So I might just do that shadowing technique. It's a bit of a favourite thing I like to do. We'll clean this off later just by using a wet cloth, or you can do some soapy dishwater. So to get our shadowing technique, let me just see if I can zoom this even further. Closer in. Oop, is that zooming? Maybe that's as close as it goes. No? Let's see. Yep, that's as close as we can get it, just for now. Okay, so we put the stencil over here. So Katrina says she uses chalk paste. Oh, that's great. That's the first time watching. Katrina, thank you so much for saying so, and welcome. Welcome to Essential Stencils page. And yes, chalk paste sounds like it would be a great, nice, thick medium to stencil with. Okay, so let me just show you really carefully. You can see my stencil as it moves around there. We can see where the grey stencil is. So I'm going to put it exactly on the grey stencil so there's no white showing around. To create our shadow, we want to move it one way and then up a bit, or one way and then down. You can move it whichever way you like. So I'm just going to move it slightly to my right, so that's your left, and then up slightly. And so we're going to create a grey shadow in the background because that's our base colour, and then red over the top. Now with the red, it may need a couple of coats because red is really a highly pigmented colour, and so sometimes they take a lot more coverage. So if you notice, I'm pouncing right now, and usually I do a swirly method, but because I've got a bit extra on the brush, I'm just pouncing because I'm trying to cheat and just get a bit more coverage on there. Sometimes what is that saying? Cheaters never prosper. So taking shortcuts doesn't always mean it's going to work out. Hopefully I haven't bled under the stencil, so you don't want those fuzzy edges. I'm trying to avoid those. So I may just have to do a second coat, but I've got our other fun project over here to work on. And so I can do that while this is drying, and we can go over a second coat if we want to in a minute. Oh, I was thinking of just leaving the and grey, but it's too late now. So you could do the red on these two big words and leave that and in the grey, and that would be lovely too. So because we've got that grey bit of the background, it's not going to look the exact same red as the hearts either. But if you've been following my lives for any length of time, you can know that I'm always up for a good experiment. And so a lot of the times I literally come on here and experiment in front of you guys, and I love that you enjoy that and you're along with me for the journey. I like to keep it real and just show you my mistakes too, because that we all learn from those also. So hopefully I haven't gotten too much bleed under there. So we may have to come back for a second coat of that, but I'll show you quickly this idea of the shadowing look. Oh, that kind of messes with my eyes. Oh, and I've just ruined my side. I'm going to have to wipe that off. A little bit of a cloth here. If I can do that quickly, then the paint doesn't dry in time. But see what I did there? I made the mistake of lying that back over onto the board and got my red paint everywhere. So I'll just lift that up. I was just trying to lift it to show you closer how that shadow looks. But it does a little bit mess with your eyes. Might try and get that red a bit darker. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I'll leave that there. Pop this in here. Actually, we'll go over and do this one. So the other, remember it's a 6-pack of minis, and I'm using, oh, hang on, how many was in that? I think it is 6, correct? So I've got these 2 here, these 2 here, and another 2 that I showed at the beginning of the live. So if you did miss it, you can catch that on the replay. And this is just a cute little board. We've got the PS I love you up here. And I like this little X and the heart. Kiss hug. that sits just here where this Y comes down. It actually sits nicely in this area. So you can work that. So we bring the PS I Love You down a little bit further. That's the great thing about being able to see through these stencils, although it's kind of tricky to see exactly there. So I will take this one off for now, and we'll start with this. And here's our tape. And the other reason I'm adding this tape right beside this eye is because that's kind of a little bit close to the edge. So I don't want to put my brush over the edge onto the white. Let's just go with this red again for our cute sign. So if we add some string or ribbon to this sign, that will make a cute... Oh, Donnie's saying you can't watch it like this. Do you mean in this way? Turn your phone. If you're watching on your phone, you can turn your phone sideways and swipe swipe one way or the other and the comments disappear. That's one way of doing it. Or you can watch it the other way and your comments appear underneath. All right, so thank you guys so much for all your wonderful comments. If you are, don't forget to stay to the end. We have prizes to give away after our lives. Yeah, cute Valentine stencils. These make great projects for, as I said earlier, greeting cards. They are nice size that'll fit perfectly on a greeting card. In fact, this would sit nicely on one that goes this way where you open it up like that. So we've got the PS I Love You. Super easy and super quick to do. And then this, we could do these a different colour or same colour. It's up to you. And also you can use that same shadowing technique that I used over here, which I'll be adding to in a minute, and you'll see the difference between just one coat or two coats there. Okay, so this is a larger area, but I've still, because I've got this brush, I would normally use a bigger brush for those larger areas. I wonder if Essential Stencil can just block that spammer. That would be great, or anyone can report that. Thank you guys. We are giving away prizes at the end of our live. So stay tuned. And if you're new here, we have a lot of lives, well, every day of the week, Monday through Friday, you'll usually see an ambassador showing you their best tips and techniques for stenciling and how you can do some fun things on projects. So we've done some 3D stenciling. In fact, I think I did that just at the end of last year. We did that. So go back and check the video section here on the Essential Stencil page, and you'll be able to see that. Okay, there we go. Nice and crisp edges. That's what we like to see. So let me just see if I can get that in a bit closer. Actually, I'll switch to this camera where you can see really closely. Oop, turn it around even. So you can see it's quite rough where you can see if I did another coat, you wouldn't see all these swirly marks in here. So you could do another coat, but if you look at that, you know, it still stands out nice and crisp, as you can see the nice crisp lines in there. All right. PS, I love you. Now we just need to add a little string to that or a ribbon or something, and we've finished that one. But let's go back to our project over here and we'll see how this is looking. So if you can see, remember we did that bright red on here, and how I said red is a quite a pigmented colour, and so it can be, so when I did it over the top of the grey, it looks a lot darker because you're seeing a lot more of that dark grey come back through. So I'm going to go over that again now and see if it turns out a little bit brighter so it matches in a bit more with the hearts here. Like that. Oh, that's a great idea. Brenda was saying she's started to watch a few different ambassadors and just has noticed that we all have really different techniques and tips. And so, yeah, it's true that you do have a lot of different techniques when you watch different people, and everyone has different ideas and different styles too. So you'll see different styles from the different ambassadors, which is always fun to watch and learn when people are showing different techniques. So I'll just do this first part and see if we can tell the difference between the bottom word, we, and the top word. Okay, so now that I've added that extra coat, you can see that there's going to be a bit more of a difference, slightly, not huge, but slightly different. Oops, you can see that that is now standing out a little bit more than the top one. You can still see a bit more of the grey in the background. So I'll go over that again. Oops. Oh, what's that? I'm missing some of your comments and I just want to sit here and watch you read them. I do go over afterwards. Sammy is saying, I see the same thing when you and your three sisters are together, you all do things differently. It's so true, isn't it? We all have different styles. I know I have three sisters also, and we're all creative in different ways, and love to see our different ways of doing things coming out. Thank you, Melissa. It does really pop on the PS. I love you, that red, doesn't it? So don't go anywhere. I'm going to show you how to transfer. If you haven't seen Essential Stencils Gorgeous Transfers, I'll be showing you that in a minute. And if you didn't know already, I did mention it earlier, but if you've just joined in on the live, Essential Stencil has some brand new stencils being released, and they're available for pre-order. Use my code IRestoreStuff and get an extra 10% off. Bonnie's asking, do I have a preferred brand of stencil paint? I just use what I have on hand, but I was saying earlier I prefer to use the acrylic-based paints. They tend to be a bit thicker, I suppose, in quality, and so I do use that. So I sell the Fusion Mineral Paint in Australia here as a retailer, and also the Artisan brand of paint, which is only in Australia, so that's an Australian brand. But yeah, this is the Fusion Mineral Paint. You can find that on my Amazon store also. Oops, it takes a while for that to focus. It's the camera. Okay, so that done, I wanted to show you now a stenciling idea. No, not a stencil, transferring idea for Valentine's. Also, I wanted to, and I don't know whether to use string or ribbon for this. What do you think, guys? Let's have a little vote. I love it when you guys vote in the comments and let us know what you want. Oh, look, my comments have just got to scroll down because they're everywhere. All right, so we've got this ribbon here, which we could use, which is a very similar red to the ribbon there. I'm trying not to get into this patch of red that I've done there. So we could use this ribbon or some string just for something different to give it more of a rustic look, because it is quite a rustic piece of wood that I've taped it to. So let's see, what do you think, ribbon or string? I'd love to know in the comments. And go. Can you see that there? Hopefully you can see that. Oops. Nan says string would be a nice contrast. Someone says ribbon. I'm going to be listening. Oops, that's still attached. While you're voting on that, I'm going to cut out one of these ribbons here on the transfer. So this is, I've already used this part here, but this transfer set is the Poinsettia and Cardinal transfer set. And that's available if you look that up on the Essential Stencil page, or just click on the link right there in the description of the live. But notice it has some gorgeous ribbons. Here's one that you could use for Valentine's. I even think this would be cute with these little berries for a Valentine's sort of sign or something. You could use the twigs. There are still things on this that you could use, even these branches. I know they're wintry and they're pine, but I think that some of them could look cute on that. We've got this bow here and this cute little ribbon over here. So I'm going to cut this one out. So with the transfers, we want to cut them out. All right, Angela's torn between ribbon and string. They both look good. What am I going to do, guys? Let's see. Ribbon and string, 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 string with a few beads. Oh, if I had some beads, I would do that. It looks like the twine is coming in fast and furious. We could twist them together, guys. We could just do that too, you know. And it's very easy to just change that up because it's just string. You tie it in a knot. We've already got holes there. So we'll look at that. Getting my trusty scissors out here, and I'm going to be just cutting around the transfer that I want to use for my design. Try not to get this on any wet paint. So we just need the bow that I'm going to be working with. The rest that just stay there. So these are single use, the transfers. One and done. And as opposed to the stencils, which you can use over and over again because it's a stencil. But I like this bow, and I think that the ribbon is a cute, a nice colour to be able to go with this. So I thought, you know, if you did have something else in the jar too. Oh, look, we're out of the shot. It's not very helpful. We could put the ribbon on the jar is what my thoughts were. So that could look cute there. You could add some greenery, or we could use the white ribbon. There's so many different options, but I do like the idea of putting the ribbon on the jar. So I'm going to do that, even though it probably might cover up some of the hearts. You know, I just had this idea and I thought it would be cute. So we're going to go with it. Or you could put your ribbon off to the side slightly to show some of those hearts so it's not kind of blocking all of them. I don't think it'll block too many. I just like the idea of adding that. With all of the transfers, you will receive one of these tools, which is a rubbing tool. So we will work on our string in just a minute. In fact, let me just cut that now while we can see that here. What we need to do is tie this in a knot, and hopefully it doesn't poke through. We may have to do a couple of knots. Essential Stencils just added a link there, I noticed, for storage tips. So that is a great resource for you on their website. Okay, there's one end of the string. So you probably want to cut, if you're going to join these, you know, the string and the ribbon together, you would probably want to cut them the same size. But I do like that, the string idea, for a bit of contrast. And just tying that in a knot. Again, right there. You can cut them to size if you wanted to. So there's our cute little string all on, ready to hang. It's a cute door hanger, and you can put one on the back and it can be seasonal. You could have had this for Christmas and then you just add a Valentine's to change it for the next season. I love that idea. So going on to our transfer here, we're going to transfer our ribbon on now. Let's see how close we can get. So it has a white paper backing. First thing you want to do is remove the white paper backing and place your ribbon where you want it. Someone just jumped in saying, "Hi Sharon, I'm late to the craft." That's okay. Never too late to join us here on our lives, and you can always catch the replay. If you are watching the replay, don't forget to comment the word replay during the live, and you have a chance to win a prize in the next 24 hours. Okay, I'm worried. I don't know where to put it. Now, it's going to go over the bow, it's going to go over the hearts, but that's okay. I'm just going to center it because I just feel like I just should center it. All right, it's going down. So there it is. And just imagine you could do those hearts in different colors, and then the ribbon would probably pop a little bit more. Someone said, can you cut the ribbon? Oh, this one. Yes, you could if you wanted to. I could have cut that. Good thought. A little bit late now, maybe. I might have stuck it down too much. Let's have a look. You are so right. Who was that? Said you could cut the ribbon. Of course we could. So let's do that. I could cut it or I could just leave it right here. So let's cut the ribbon so that it's just, oh, that's such a great idea. If I go and cut it, I'm just going to cut it right across because, well, we could make a little angle. Made a little angle. There we go. And another angle over this way. Thank you. And I can't scroll back quick enough to see whose comment that was who said, you could cut the ribbon. Brilliant. Look at that. We've cut the ribbon. All right, so now I'm going to add the ribbon and just rub it with the transfer tool. I probably could have done a much better job if I had the ribbon in my hands and cut that at a different special angle. But we're going to use the transfer tool, rub it on like this. And someone said they like it is. Hey, we could always just add the ribbon back on because seriously, it's right there. If you want to add the ribbon on and you've decided you've cut it, don't think it's too late because look, it's still on there and you could literally stick it down and join those two together. It's because it's just a transfer. So I've shown you a couple of, as we do, as we make mistakes and then show you how you can fix them. All right, let's see if this is peeling back. I've got to grab the edge here. And here we go. It should be coming off pretty easily. So what we're doing now is, oh, my phone's ringing beside me. Sorry about that. Lifting that up and making sure that no small pieces of the transfer are left on that clear. So it should be completely clear with no little bits sticking, oops, to the edges. So just get that little last bit there. Still looks like it wants to stick. I'm trying also not to scratch my board. So let's have a look. Where are we going? Yes, ta-da. So see how that's very clear. There's no little bits sticking on it. And so that's all good to go. Whereas if you still had some left on the thing, you have to lay it back down. So there you go, a cute little bow with the transfer right there. So you can imagine some of these transfers, you know, you could add to your Valentine's projects. There's this beautiful white bow, another red bow on the other one. Really cute ideas. And I like the other idea of whoever said to cut the ribbon. So I may have cut this one a little too short. I don't know. I think it looks great. So there you go. There are our projects today. Let me just zoom it up because we're going to pick some prize winners from our stenciling today. Whoop. Let's see if I can see your faces. And I've zoomed myself in so big here that I can't see what's going on. I'll zoom out. There we are. Back out and away we go. All right, so our projects today, as we're picking winners, I'm trying to see who they are. Here's our first project with the little transfer bow, and I could have probably made those a bit closer together, like the you and me. I feel like it should be down a little bit further. And here's our PS I love you cute sign here. So let me know when you see, oh, we do have the winners. Let me see who they are so I can read them out. Our winners today are Robin, Patty and Teresa. Congratulations and thank you so much for watching our live today. I will see you again next week. I'm Sharon from the blog I Restore Stuff. So I would love you to click on the link in the description where you'll just go straight to my page, I Restore Stuff on Facebook or Instagram. I'm on YouTube. We have tutorials on furniture painting and makeovers as well as stenciling signs. So I'd love to see you over there. Follow me there. And I will see you again next week here on Essential Stencil for another fun project. See what we're up to next week, hey? So you enjoy your week, and until next time, I will see you then. And I just have to try and figure out how to stop my live. All right, bye everybody.